Well, hello, my lovelies. It's Murky Meg here. It's Monday, the 6th of December, and it seems that Harry has once again thrown a member of his family under the bus. This time, quite spectacularly, I might add. The Times has done a deep dive into the Duke of Sussex with regards to the cash for honours scandal that is raging right now with Prince Charles and Michael Fawcett. Now, I'm not going to go into detail with regards to that because it's very long-winded, but the crux of the matter is that Prince Charles met at least 9 times with an alleged fixer at the heart of the claims where people paid cash for honours like gongs. It's reported that he received thousands of pounds to secure an honour for a Saudi billionaire and brokered a personal thank you letter from Charles to a Russian donor. That is what is claimed that the middleman did. Clarence House has denied any knowledge of the practice, paid intermediaries arranging access to the royal family or honours in exchange for donations to the prince's charities. Michael Fawcett has since resigned over what transpires was an alleged cooperation with somebody that Harry himself had been dealing with. So the investigation has now shone a spotlight directly on Harry and his involvement in this particular alleged scandal. Now, it all involves a Saudi billionaire called Mahfouz Mubarak bin Mahfouz. Please excuse if I haven't pronounced that correctly. Now, the Times are claiming that Harry met bin Mahfouz and agreed to see him in 2013 after bin Mahfouz gave £50,000 to Harry's charity, Sensible, and he hinted that he would give millions more. It's been claimed that bin Mahfouz and Harry met in a pub in Chelsea, West London, to discuss Harry's charity, Sensible, and then met again at Clarence House. And it was reported that this opened the door to access to Charles. So the newspaper is claiming that, in fact, it was Harry meeting Mr. bin Mahfouz that gained access to the royal family. Now, Harry has shot back in a very cutting and damaging and quite disastrous statement in which he literally throws his own father under the bus. He has denied any involvement in cash for honours claims and says that he severed ties with the Saudi billionaire donor to the Prince of Wales charity 6 years ago. A representative of Harry said that he was disappointed by the reporting of the allegations, which he said had been deliberately vague to try and create a falsified link between the Duke of Sussex and the CBE scandal, of which he had no knowledge or involvement. The spokesperson said the Duke and his advisors, as well as his non-profit Sensible, severed ties with Mr. Mahfouz and his associates in 2015, no longer accepting further donations to Sensible and discontinuing any plans for a fundraising event amid growing concerns over the motives for his support. The Duke had one planned meeting with his donor nearly 8 years ago, did not introduce him to any members of the royal family, and expressed his concerns about the donor. Now, it's unclear on who Harry had actually raised his concerns to and whether or not that £50,000 donation to Sensible was ever returned. Now, the wisest among us would think, well, if he had concerns, why wouldn't he return that £50,000? So he hasn't given any details about when and who he warned about the billionaire's credibility, nor has he mentioned who he told and when. He hasn't even given a statement about the diamonds that were given to his wife that were so gloriously splashed across the headlines only a couple of months ago. So it's okay to accept money and then shun it, but your wife can have the diamonds that were given by another Saudi billionaire that's also allegedly involved in the disappearance and murder of a journalist. This is basically Harry saying, nah, I'm not getting my hands dirty. I'm going to throw the ball back to the royal family. And the wording, especially Harry using the CBE scandal within the statement that the spokesperson had given to the Times, is very, very interesting indeed. That shows that it relates to the scandal that is going on at the moment with regards to Prince Charles. There's no aligning himself with the royal family whatsoever. And my personal thoughts to this are, well, he's got a memoir coming out very soon, hasn't he? And this doesn't really bode well for that. I tend to lean on the side that it's going to be a warts and all drag fest of slating his family. This statement was obviously issued yesterday after a newspaper, The Times, highlighted Harry's own links with this Saudi billionaire bin Mahfouz. And it was also very clear that Harry had foresight and did, in fact, warn others of what he thought bin Mahfouz was up to. Well, see, this is where I find it rather tricky. He doesn't really say who he spoke to, when he spoke to, what happened. Did he give the £50,000 back? It wasn't to him, I have to add. It was to his charity. But was that returned? No. But what it didn't highlight, the spokesperson's statement from the Duke, was about Harry's meeting with bin Mahfouz in a close friend's pub in Chelsea and the subsequent encounter at Clarence House, where he was said to have joked, "Has father beaten me to it and got the money?" Oh yes, indeed. That's what Harry said. Has father beaten me to it and got the money? The statement also clearly suggests that Harry himself and his advisors saw sense at the earliest possible opportunity when Charles's former aide, Michael Fawcett, and presumably the Prince of Wales himself, did not. And as I have said, he certainly didn't mention who he raised his concerns to. It's very interesting that Rebecca English writes today that it's her understanding that Charles wasn't even aware until this weekend that Harry had met bin Mahfouz in a Chelsea pub, let alone encouraged his charity to accept money from him. By leaving this statement very open that he raised concerns, he's left a gaping wound of who he raised them to, leaving that same old thing that Harry does, puts something out there but doesn't give enough detail to actually fact find and put to rest who he spoke to, much like the royal racist comment. And it really is very enlightening that he now, once the Times have said, actually, you're involved in the same Saudi billionaire that's cropped up in your father's scandal, and Harry's going, well, no, I did warn somebody, much like he did exactly the same about the Capitol riots. Oh, I did warn Jack. Same old cropping up again. So basically Harry's saying, yes, I met with him. Yes, he gave £50,000 to my charity, but my heckles were drawn up. I severed ties. I warned somebody about him. But you're quite happy for your wife to accept diamonds from a Saudi billionaire that is linked to a murder. First things first, I think, A, did you send that money back? Who did you tell? And why has your wife still got the diamonds that have been turned into a ring, allegedly? I know that was a different Saudi billionaire, but still, principles and ethics. You can't claim that you're ethical on one particular event and then completely deny and not even comment on the diamonds themselves. And of course the Sugars are raging, no, they belong to the royal family. Actually, she was wearing them only a few weeks ago, so no. So this is basically Harry shunning everything that he has done with regards to bin Mahfouz and saying, well, I warned somebody, while throwing his father, who we all know who he's doing it to, under the bus yet again. This is a very dangerous game. I can't understand why they still have their titles now. They have systematically thrown jipes at the royal family, thrown accusations, and undermined them so many times since they left the royal family. I cannot understand why their titles still stand. Yes, I know if they were stripped, Harry would still be Prince Harry and Meghan would be Princess Henry. But I'd rather that than them lording over the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles. With those titles, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, comes the connection to the royal family. But Harry is quite happy to throw all of his family under the bus to save his own skin. If you had ethics and morals, Harry, you would tell us exactly who you raised your concerns to, whether or not that £50,000 was given back from the Senable charity, and you'd also hand back the diamonds. Joe, it's remarkably hilarious that this is the guy who says that he had foresight to shut this down, much like he had foresight to predict the Capitol riots, when he's a man who thought penguins lived in the North Pole and that there was a country called Chunga Chunga. Needless to say, this hasn't gone down very well in the media and the UK papers. I don't know whether it's reached the shores of other countries yet, whether or not they're just not giving it any time at all. But here in the UK, it's caused quite a ripple, and the majority of people are saying, well, it's another example of him twisting the knife in Charles's back, and an awful lot of people on the posts from the media websites are saying, has Meghan still got those diamonds, Harry? The irony is not lost on us. So I would love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think it's just Harry issuing a statement to say, actually, no, I wasn't involved. I had a little bit of kind of time with him, but I saw exactly what his motives were. I cut ties and I told somebody about it. Or do you think this is another systematic attack on his father? And what then do you think that's going to lead in to Harry's memoirs that are coming out next year? Doesn't bode well, does it? As always, I would love to know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.